We have to learn to let go and allow life to happen through us without any judgments, without any preconceived notions, just allowing life to be what it is.
We choose between the left and right, the ups and downs, the darkness or the light. We're finding who we are.
There's only one reform in life. When you and I stop living from our heads, you and I are here for one very solid reason, and that is to learn to be loving.
We're finding our way together, just you and me.
Namaste. What we think is not what we understand. And if we work with the Eightfold Path, we'll have a deeper appreciation for the experience of ourselves. Come aspire with us. When you hear the name Buddha, do you picture a statue of a bald, fat man in your favorite Chinese restaurant? Maybe he is laughing, or maybe he is serene. Do you believe his life was fact or fiction? Buddha means the enlightened one. The man we call Buddha was Siddhartha Gautama, and he lived only 500 years before Jesus. Today, Buddha's teachings are the basis for one of the world's greatest religions with more than 180 million followers. Word of Buddha's awakening and teachings were well received throughout India. One reason for his great popularity is that Buddha had given everyone the hope of achieving nirvana in their lifetime. His following included lay people as well as monks, and women were accepted into the order. Several years after his awakening, Buddha was invited home by his father. Though he was accepted by many as their master, his father remained reserved. So did his wife, who had hoped that he would return to his role as husband and father. But instead, Buddha converted his 7-year-old son and welcomed him into the monkhood. When he was in his 80s, Buddha fell ill. He lay down on his right side and prepared to see his monks for the last time. He told them, "Brothers, all that is composed is perishable. The law that I have taught you and the discipline that I have established for you will be your master after my death." Then, without changing his position, the Buddha entered into his final contemplation. But he left behind his unforgettable teachings and explicit rules to live by. Let a man overcome anger by love, evil by good. Let him overcome the greedy by liberality, the liar by truth. Respect the self of your fellow man as you respect your own. Be a light unto yourself. Right understanding, the last teaching of Buddha in the Eightfold Path. Right understanding doesn't mean what we might think it does, in the form of trying to accumulate great, vast amount of knowledge or facts and formulating them together in some sort of mental perception that we tend to do. I find people in metaphysics are overread and underdone. We read too much, we listen too much, we study too much, we assimilate a lot in our mind, but we never let it sink down into the level of our heart. There is no knowledge that could ever be given to you that will ever awaken you. All I ever try to do here on Aspire with you is say some things that will help you remember what you have forgotten. In fact, most of the time, we know too much. We think too much. We have too many facts, figures, and concepts and idealisms. We have formulated philosophies and religions out of things that may not be philosophy or religion at all. We are so filled with our own knowledge and so prideful about what it is that we think that we know, we make it impossible to have what is called understanding. Understanding is a posture that we have within ourselves. It's It's how we sit within ourselves. Let me give you some teachings on right understanding. Because if you work from these postures as an individual, they're going to change your life. You're not going to be looking at life as something that you want to improve. You'll be living life just as it is. The first teaching of right understanding is, it's not what you do, it's who you are. We are so concerned about what we do, thinking that behavior will change us. I know it's popular with the Skinners, but it's not true. Your behavior is not going to change you. It will modify you a little bit, but it will never really change you. The change has to occur from within ourselves. So the first teaching of right understanding is, it's not what I do that is as important as who I am. Seek first who you are, and all the behaviorisms will then begin to change, and they won't matter anymore. You know, we have built up in this Western civilization of ours some real interesting ideas about psychology. And we think that psychology is based on the premise of the way one thinks, and maybe it is. But when you look at it from the Buddhist point of view, from Buddha's teachings on the Eightfold Path, you begin to see that you supersede all psychology. Your psychology begins with the posture that you sit in. When you are aware of who you are, your mind will then follow. What we usually think of in terms of psychology as being is that what we think is, and then we follow that. If you live like that, pain and suffering will be yours. Second thing, it's not what you have in life in the form of objects and things that matters. It's where you are within yourself that matters. That is right understanding. If someone were to ask you, where are you inside of yourself, what would you say? It would be a very difficult thing for us to understand, because we think of where we are based on age, circumstance, condition. And when we live our life from age, circumstance, and condition, we don't know where we are because circumstances change. Age has nothing to do with us. And what we are thinking is of no real value either. We have to begin to understand that right understanding is a perception, an awareness of where we are within ourselves, what we value. And our values are very important things. Jesus said to us in one of his most beautiful and profound teachings that we take what should be first and we make it last, and we take what is last and we make it first. That's where our values are all messed up. We start to think that it's what other people think of us and what we have and what we think as individuals and the accumulation of our knowledge and the formulation of our beliefs and our activities if we're good people doing moral things, that those things come first. They don't. What comes first is love. Love not as we know it in the form of our emotions and our passion, but the love that is unconditional, and that is the prime example of our life. To have right understanding, one must drop everything and go to their heart. And that is the next thing I want to deal with. What you think is of no consequence at all in life. What you feel is everything. We spend a great deal of time trying to reorganize our thoughts. It doesn't change us, and it doesn't make us deeper people. You know, the object of life is to become deepened by your experience in life, not shallow. And as long as we are living in our minds, we're always going to be very shallow people. Honor your feelings. Know what your feelings are. Make a supreme effort all of your life, every day of your life, to understand what it is you're feeling, because when you understand your feelings, you will understand the very core of you. And your core life is where life originates. It's in God within you. I'll be right back, so please don't go away. I have more for you. Welcome back. I want to give you some more insight on right understanding, the last teaching in the Eightfold Path. There is nothing in the world that will ever take the place of true experience. And the experiences that we have usually are things that we have on the outside. I don't want you to ever confuse an experience with understanding. Because you listen to me here on TV does not mean that you have a true experience. Because you read something in a book does not mean you have true experience. And that also means you do not have true understanding. For my life, this is what I've found. Until I experience it from within myself or as myself, it cannot be a part of my understanding. A few years ago, I came to the profound conclusion in my own life that I have never experienced anything on my own. That was a very moving, very challenging, humiliating point in my own life, and it changed everything in my living. Do you realize how pseudo we are? You look at commercials to find out what you should be wearing and how you should be smelling, and you look to books to see how you should be thinking. You look to newspapers for what is happening. None of us are original. Everybody else is doing our thinking for us. We have no real experience on our own. When a person has their own experience, it's because all of a sudden, from out of nowhere, they've let go of the things that they should be. They've let go of the things that other people want them to be. They let go of the things that are around them. And for one honest, genuine moment, something is there. It's an experience. You hear people say love at first sight. I really believe that people do have love at first sight. It's something that happens. We're not looking for it, we're not wanting it, and all of a sudden, an experience happens because our guard is down. Our ego for a moment is lapsing, shall we say. We're not trying to make something happen. We're not thinking about making something happen, and all of a sudden, something happens. And we see someone or something about ourselves, and we, quote, unquote, fall up in it. In love is not falling down, it is falling up into our higher self. When that occurs, deep understanding has occurred. I stress a great deal in my work, less reading, more meditation. Because meditation brings us to the sensitivity that allows an experience like that to happen to us. But we are not very honest about our meditation time. When we are meditating, we are always thinking of what we should get or what we should be and what we should have. And that takes away from our experience. Do everything that you possibly can in your life to drop the way you've thought, to be the way you are. That is right understanding. To be so genuine, so real, so authentic, that there is no amount of commercialism and not even my insights sharing with you on Aspire getting in the way of who you are. The worst thing that I could think of is that you would mimic me, or take what I say and try to act it out, or even believe in what I say. I am here as a reminder to you, a reminder of something that you have chosen to forget. You have forgotten what it's like to be you, to not be pleasing other people. You don't always have to be smart. You don't always have to have the right answer. The right answers sometimes are the things that we experience that are part of the dark side of us, maybe even part of the ugly side of us. We have forgotten what it means to experience the totality of us. Understanding, right understanding, brings forth the flowering of true wisdom. That true wisdom comes not from what we know, but from who we really are. I like to look at it this way, and maybe I'm contradicting myself. Let me throw to you another paradox here. What you know comes from here. What you think or what you hope for or what you desire comes from here. If you only think from here, you'll never have right understanding. You'll have some preconceived reason for why things happen the way they do, but there'll never be that deep knowingness. And where there is no knowing, there is no love. And where there is no love, there is no life. Love happens only when I drop what I think for what I am, for who I am, and for where I am within myself. So, my dear friend, on the conclusion of this series, looking at right understanding, it's the culmination of all 7 of the other paths that we have talked about in this program and in this series on the Eightfold Path. It is right livelihood, it is right seeing, it is right purpose, it is right thought. It is the ability for right effort to occur within us, and it allows for deep spiritual insight. When we are making that spiritual insight, things begin to change. Please remember, You did not come here on this planet to learn anything. You came here to have as many experiences as are necessary to bring you back home to yourself. Don't think about what's happened to you in your life. Breathe it, experience it one more time. It will awaken you, and it will help you understand Buddha's great teaching, be a light unto yourself. I'll be right back with some how-tos. Welcome back. I want to help you with some how-tos on right understanding. First thing is, if you want, again, to perceive beyond what your mind is thinking, you're going to have to sit in yourself in a different way. Remember, all of these teachings that I gave you on the Eightfold Path, they're all postures. It's the way you sit inside, and the way you look out, and the way you look in. So the first thing you have to begin to practice, and this is going to go so much against our yuppieism, our commercialism, have no goals. It goes over like a lead balloon every time I talk about it. People think, what is my life going to be without goals? Have you ever thought that there is a great deal of struggle, stress, and strain in having goals, so much so that even when you obtain a goal, that you've missed the path that has helped you get there? For many years in my life, I didn't take much credence in the old philosophy that said, smell the roses along the way. I used to think, yeah, I'll see them and I'll enjoy them later. Later never came. And I began to find out I achieved certain goals in my life, but I not only didn't enjoy getting there, I left so much of what I am behind. And if I lose myself in an effort to get somewhere, it doesn't matter where I am in my life or what I've gained, it won't matter at all. It just loses its power. So, no goals. Live moment to moment to moment. That doesn't mean you don't know what you're doing. Don't take it to the extreme. The mind will go, well, that means we're not supposed to do anything all day. Stop that. You know what you have to do. I know I had TV to do today, but I didn't make it a goal. I just went along with it today. And instead of trying to make it happen, you try to let it happen through you. Okay? Does that help you a little bit? Understanding will start to come up. A deeper perception about your life, because you'll be able to experience the things that are going on instead of ignoring them, trying to get to some predestination that you think is going to make you happy, which can't and won't. Another thing, and again, it kind of goes with the idea of no goals and all of that, our purpose. Have no purpose. Not the purpose that you and I are used to. We always think in terms of purpose as something that we gain or something that we get. Again, I go back to this teaching over and over and over again that Buddha taught, that even Jesus taught. The whole idea is not to be thinking about what you can have as much as who you are. I like what Jesus said. He talked about life in very beautiful ways. He once said to us, and it correlates here again with Buddha, he said, the lilies in the field, they toil not. They don't even worry. They just give what they are what they are, and it's enough. And then he said, and Solomon, even in all of his glory, was not as beautiful as this. Why? For the simple fact that the little lilies of the field had no purpose. They weren't looking at each other, worrying about if they were as pretty as a rose bush or as an elm tree. They're just happy being who they are. And if you will begin to practice within yourself having no purpose, you will find a divine purpose, a purpose greater than what your mind thought of as itself. And now you become a part of the whole. I like to look at it this way. I don't have any special gifts or purposes. My part is to be a part of the harmony of life, not trying to stick out in life, but to harmonize in life. And when I do, I find a sense of well-being and personal happiness in my living. And that's what it's all about. That's what I found out is right understanding, because a wisdom begins to bloom. You don't waste your time on things that are a waste of time in the first place. You know what's important, and you move with it, and you go with it. And you're not wasting your effort, your energy, and your essence. Very important point. One last thing. Destination is very important. There are no destinations in life. Will you please remember that? You're not supposed to get anywhere with this life. You're not supposed to be at a certain place at a certain time with your life. Wherever you are is the destination. And whatever you're doing is right what you need to be doing at the time you need to be doing it. That's hard for us. We're destination oriented. We think we have to be somewhere doing a certain thing before we will be happy. Happiness depends upon the state and the quality of your consciousness, not on the things that happen to you. And if our consciousness is absorbing the moment and living in the moment, that is the supreme place that we need to be. Now there are no destinations any longer. Life takes on a uniqueness, a wisdom, and a beauty. Buddhist teachings, let me just close. They are very powerful. And I know in the West that we don't honor Buddha very much, and it's so sad because we are so narrow-minded in our thinking. I hope that this series on the Eightfold Path has brought you closer to a flexibility that will allow you to absorb the truth no matter who it comes from. Namaste. Mail gets very interesting. Listen to this beautiful letter I received. The past few years have been very difficult for me. I have overcome alcohol addiction and drug dependency, quit smoking, and now I find myself fighting a severe weight problem. This person has been through the mill. What am I going to do, and what can I do? Will meditation help me become less codependent? Yeah, it can help. You know, most of us don't even understand how to meditate because to meditate seems so foreign to us. Meditation, we think in terms of going into some dark room and just staring at a candle, and we think of some strange things like opium dens and all that crazy stuff our Western minds have. Meditation is simple. It is simple breathing. The mind is so complicated, it can't take something as simple as meditation, watching your breathing, without trying to googly it up with some kind of destination or results or what will happen to me. Listen, meditation makes us sharper, makes us more perceptive, makes us keener. It seems that we Westerners have a great deal of difficulty with anything that is silence because we're so impacted by noise and confusion and complications of our Western world that the whole idea of sitting in silence seems to make us look like we're going to be useless. But I think you'll find your capacity as a person becomes much more enlarged. You begin to have a real sense of feel for your own life. I want to thank one very special person who helped make this whole series on the Eightfold Path possible. Violet, I thank you from the bottom of my heart and for hundreds of people who gained so much out of this Aspire. We need your support, ladies and gentlemen, if we are to continue, and our next series depends upon you. Won't you help us keep this program on the air? My final sign-off on the Eightfold Path, please remember Buddha's beautiful words. Be a light unto yourself. Namaste.